Welcome to Sailing Avanti. We are Gerard and Jacqueline, sailing our 41-foot monohull Avanti around the world from Cape Town, South Africa. We are currently sailing in the beautiful archipelago of Los Roques, just north of Venezuela. We start by sailing into Francis Key, close to Grand Rock. The anchorage was challenging and we decide to anchor just outside Francis Key on another island south of it.
Are you pretending to fish, Gerard?
No. I've got Deerwald's rig on here.
What have you caught?
So I've caught 17 jacks. We've got 3 bait fish from a local. So we're using dead bait and we're trying to catch some jacks. They're just over there. Look at they're jumping out of the water. Check.
Oh goodness. I don't think that's how you call fish.
Yeah, they're jumping like crazy.
After no success with fishing the previous evening, we head to the island's beach in front of us in the morning to see what we can find.
These conch shells look like they're fossils. I don't know how they get but yeah, they look pretty old.
Wow. Put it back in its place. Here's another one. This was definitely not the best snorkeling spot we've seen in the Caribbean so far. But it was still a good start for the amazing scenery Los Roques would give us in a few days' time. Our favorite shells from this beach. Some were found just on the water's edge and others between the greenery. This one's my favorite. It's a little bit of a blue-greenish color with orange dots. Just beautiful. The charts are so bad here. The shallow spot is not where it should be. I've been navigating my eyeball, and that's why it's important to only travel between 10 and 2.
We've just come into the most southern point of this 40-kilometer reef almost. And we've kind of done it with eyeball navigation. So the anchor spot we want to go to is over there where you see the light water, or close to that. So we'll go and pick a spot, first go and circle, see what's under there, and then drop anchor.
So we're having some issues setting the anchor, and what we've decided now is we can't get close enough. We can't get close enough to set it. Yes, it is. And so what we're going to do is we're going to lift it with a boat, and then our buddy boats are going to carry it because they can stand in the water deeper, and then drop it in and we'll go back. Well, that's the plan for now.
We ended up carrying our anchor into 1.5 meter deep water, and as you can see, the sandbank we anchored on drops off very quickly to about 6 or 7 meters deep. It was a bit of a mission to set the anchor for us, but we're glad we did. It's like having a private pool right next to your boat, 1.5 meters deep. Our buddy boat managed to anchor a little bit easier than us because they have a lifting keel and they could get right up to the sandbank and drop their anchor. So we're glad we had a boat to assist us with our deeper draft to make sure we get the anchor right.
Can you see the eyes?
Hello, conch.
Hello, is it a conch? It's very orange.
It's a conch, yeah.
Hello. Oh, I see the arm. Look there. So that's a conch. You can see the eyes and the claw. This was the first place that we've seen conchs, or otherwise known as lambi, alive in the waters. So playing with them came naturally. These animals can grow till about 30 years old, and this size you see now is fine to eat. Thus, Gerard decided it was time to take one home and cook it. But after a few hours of watching the conch stare at us, Gerard decided it was too cute to kill, and we took it back to the ocean. You can clearly see the conservation efforts are really working here.
With almost no swell and very light wind, it was time to light a fire on the barbecue and show our friends our brine culture. We were all excited about the next day. We went on our first of many dinghy safaris. Now that we have a trustworthy outboard, we jumped into our dinghies in search of turtles, stingrays, reefs, and even barracudas.
I am by no means a reef or marine specialist, but this was the first large reef that I had the feeling that the ocean was healthy. So many different fish in varied sizes, corals of all colors in all directions. I really didn't know which way to point the camera. Most of the Caribbean we have seen so far had large bleached and dead coral areas, so this was magic. And the best part was, we had it all to ourselves.
We've just come to snorkel off the point right on the southern side of this reef, and wow, it's really, I think, our best snorkeling we've ever seen. Wow, so many fishes, so lots of fish, stingray, turtles, really nice. So I'm really glad we came here with somebody else, because we also don't have a dinghy anchor, so we anchored our two dinghies and we just swam for about an hour or so. Really beautiful clean water and warm water, and yeah, couldn't ask for better. Really nice.
This is beautiful!
This was one of the best dinghy excursions we've had thus far. We had so much fun, we even forgot to check the petrol levels in the outboard engine and ran out of fuel and had to be towed the last bit back to Avanti. Today we're tasting our first Venezuelan beer. As you can see, the surroundings are quite cool. We are in Los Roques. So the first beer we're doing is a Zulia. The Spanish name for beer is cerveza. So this cerveza is a Pilsner and it's 4.5% alcohol, so it's quite light. So we are in paradise, so let's see how this beer tastes. It's quite a light beer, not a fantastic taste. I think I've had better Pilsners or lagers. But the size of the can is pretty good, the alcohol content is not bad, and the surroundings are really making up for the not so great taste. But if I have to rate this one, I'll definitely rate it a 5 out of 10. Cheers. Oh, this is the life.
I have to walk us a bit deeper so we can drift back. Someone is having a beer on his unicorn. So the area we're in is Half Moon Reef, and we basically have a few trees, 2 boats, 4 people and one hell of a long reef. The reef is 45 kilometers that you can see over there, or that is over there between where the wave break is, and we've got this massive pool that's probably 300 meters long. This only about a meter deep water that makes this big pool that you can just do nothing in, be lazy and lie on a turtle and enjoy a cold drink in.
We had really good weather conditions, so we decided to go for one last snorkel in front of the boat to check the small fishes and play with the conch one last time, which kept on amusing us. It was time to leave Half Moon Reef and head back up to Cayo Muerto. We still couldn't attempt sailing with these small and narrow channels through the scattered reefs, it was best to keep the motor running to ensure we have maneuverability if we needed it. As we navigate through the Los Roques waters, we can't always trust the navionic charts because we've heard that they're relatively far outdated and that we've seen that the depths aren't always correct. So we do follow a satellite image navigation, so we just open our iPhone maps before we leave an area that's got reception, download the satellite image, and then even if you don't have reception, you can follow your blue dot position that works with the satellite. So that works quite well to see the shallow spots and the entrances to the anchorages.
No drone, no problem. Gerard quickly hoists me up the mast, and I try to show you a higher bird's eye view of the area we're in at the moment. Not only are we surrounded by reefs and hundreds of fish, but there's only one other boat as far as the eye can see. What you doing?
Sweating and sharpening a knife.
Why?
To kill a fish.
Whose fish?
Pacific's fish.
But now it's our fish.
So our buddy boat Pacific is catching fish like crazy, and they've donated one to Avanti because we're not catching any. So I think this is a jack or a trevally. We're not fishing gurus, but yeah, it's a nice little fish, and we're going to gut it now and freeze it for supper sometime.
While Gerard was gutting the fish, I was spending my day in the very shallow reef, playing with the small fish and finding the small colorful corals hiding between their bigger, sharper brothers. With warm, clear water like we experienced here, you can easily lose track of time. We measured the water at a stunning 29.5 degrees Celsius.
We leave the shallower waters and head to a busier island called Krusky. With my favorite point of sail, broad reach, meaning the wind is just off center and from behind, we set our sails in the deeper water and sailed at 10 nautical miles distance to the next island. With the wind only blowing about 12 to 10 knots and the water being very flat, it's a very calm and nice sail to our next destination.
So we're busy cruising, sailing finally Los Roques, between the Roques Islands. We're finally in a deeper part where we can actually set out some sails. Between most of the shallower parts where we've only had 3-4 meters, we Basically just used engine because of the small space to maneuver. But we've got nice Genoa out, and we do have about 30 knots of wind. We're doing about 4 knots, so it's nice to be quiet and moving. We've got only about 8 nautical miles to go to Kraski, and Kraski, according to the locals, is the best place for snorkeling, and with everything we've seen so far, that makes it pretty damn exciting. So let's see what happens.
Thank you for joining us this week. We can't wait to show you more of this magical place in the next episode. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, or tell us your favorite moment in the comments below. Subscribing also helps us a lot. A big thank you to our Patreons for your continued support. We don't know what we would do without you. You can join them by clicking on the link in the description below.